What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Michael Hogman, and today we're going to be talking about my impressions and my predictions for the next expansion that will be announced tomorrow morning at BlizzCon's opening ceremony. I'm actually going to be heading to BlizzCon tomorrow to have a lot of fun with all the people there, kind of explore the new expansion as it's announced and all the other announcements that come with the other games, and kind of do the normal stuff that I do on BlizzCon. For BlizzCon, I have roamed around and done like a lot of Instagram stories and kept you up to date with stuff on my other social media platforms, like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then I'm also going to be doing some stuff with HyperX, doing some Instagram stories for them, and kind of involving the HyperX community within BlizzCon. I think that there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up for the next expansion, and today I want to talk about that and kind of give my predictions as to what it'll be. Okay, so diving into the next expansion, my prediction is that it's going to be a Southern Seas kind of water-esque or new continents on the water around the Maelstrom type of expansion. The reason why I feel that that's going to happen is because I feel that the starting villain, the starting overall villain for the next expansion is going to be Queen Azshara and her Naga Empire. I think that Neptulon is going to be a big part in this. I feel that the reason why I feel like Queen Azshara is going to be like the starting villain for this upcoming expansion is because I feel that Blizzard has this trend going on throughout expansions where they like to start the expansion off with like a villain that is very like relevant in the current times of the game, and that you have seen before and that you have seen throughout quests or raids or whatever. And I think that Queen Azshara kind of fits the bill there. And a lot of people seem to think that the next expansion is going to be old god themed. Like you're going to just be fighting the old gods and deal with them. But the thing is that when you fight with the old gods and deal with them, like not only can you not like necessarily like just finish them off and then that's fine. I just think that there's a lot to do with killing old gods that isn't really quite possible in the Warcraft lore. And I also feel that there is this, old gods have just been so integral as a villain throughout the game. And that has happened all the way from vanilla, where you killed Cthulhu, all the way up into now. Like, it's been relevant throughout the entirety of World of Warcraft. And I feel that for us to just deal with that and kill them, it just doesn't seem to make sense, because they are in seriously every single expansion all the way up to here. So fighting them immediately and just dealing with all the old gods and then they're just all gone, it just seems kind of silly. However, I do have a theory. I have a theory that we're going to be dealing with Queen Azshara as the main villain for the beginning of the expansion, similar to how we dealt with Gul'dan at the beginning of the Legion expansion. But just so you guys know, some spoilers for Legion are going to be announced in this video, so don't keep watching if you don't want spoilers for Legion. But I definitely think that when you kill off Queen Azshara, I think that there will be another villain after that, and I feel like that will be N'Zoth. I feel like since N'Zoth controls Queen Azshara, I feel like N'Zoth is in the seas, obviously, so, with that kind of being the main theme of the expansion in my mind, it feels like it just makes sense for us to deal with Queen Azshara, and then, all of a sudden N'Zoth awakens, and we have to deal with him too, and that will close out the end of the expansion, and that's like the immediate threat afterwards, because when we dealt with Gul'dan, all of a sudden Kil'jaeden showed up. We dealt with Kil'jaeden, and then we're dealing with Sargeras, we're dealing with all of the rebirth, and at the end of the expansion, spoilers, spoilers, you actually see Illidan imprison Sargeras, and Illidan acts as the main jailer forever, for eternity. He imprisons Sargeras, and then that like kind of removes Illidan and Sargeras from the timeline. And that's really interesting, because a lot of people didn't really expect Sargeras to be like eternally handled at the end of this expansion. We kind of didn't see that coming. So I feel that it just kind of makes sense for Blizzard to start off with a certain villain at the beginning of next expansion, and then move on to a much larger villain that's kind of expected, and then us dealing with that villain in some certain way. And that's just kind of how I see it. So with all that being said, that's kind of my predictions as to the theme of next expansion and where we're going to be going story-wise. But as for key features, I definitely think that the class order halls are going to be returning. I don't know if there'll necessarily be class order halls. I mean, they could be anything from faction order halls to, just regular single garrisons again, like in Warlords of Draenor, or, you know, race. I think race order halls would be pretty cool, and I think that that would kind of allow you to have a little bit more, I guess, pride over like which race you play, and a little bit more story into that. And I think that that would bring races a little bit more relevant, especially since I think sub races are going to be announced for sure. I think that you are going to be able to basically play your race and then have it have the ability to kind of level up your race. So with Draenei's, you can be like a light forged Draenei, or with dwarves, you can be a dark iron dwarf or a frost dwarf or whatever. And I think that you're going to have the ability to kind of like rank up your race into another race. And I don't know what all those races are, but I think that that could definitely be a relevant thing for Legion, and it would make sense if they did like a race order hall on Azeroth. And if they were like boats, or they were focused around the capital city, so like undead always had to go to Undercity to do your whatever order hall stuff, or, you know, kind of just like bringing it back to the capital cities of Warcraft and bringing it back to the race specific or faction specific ways on Azeroth. I think that would kind of give a lot of feel back to the game for those factions, because I feel like that is very disconnected from the current state of the game, and like nobody really cares what race you are unless it's just for a racial, like I have to be Blood Elf for PvP, or I would have to be Troll for PvE to be the most optimal. Like that's it. You don't really care too much, and I think that making people care about that matters. So that's my kind of thoughts on that. I think that legendaries will come back in a way that is a little bit different. I feel like legendaries will still be a thing, because I feel that having that excitement over legendaries and getting one was something that Blizzard sees as successful. But I do think that Blizzard will either make the legendaries not as relevant to the class playstyle. So like, for example, Fire Mage Bracers are extremely important for pretty much every fight for raiding for PvE for Fire Mages. And I think that not creating legendaries that do that for a class, and making them a little bit less relevant, a little bit more passive, and a little bit less needed, I guess, will definitely help for the upcoming legendary system. I do definitely see them doing the whole RNG thing. I think that's going to continue, but I just think that they're not going to be as relevant. And if they are as relevant as this expansion, where you need a certain legendary, I feel that Blizzard will implement a way to kind of like target a legendary, and that would make sense in my opinion, because they've already added that. Basically, if you have every legendary right now, you can get another legendary item that allows you to target a specific legendary for your alts. And I think that they could carry that system. It's kind of just up in the air, in my opinion. And last but not least, I definitely think that they are going to have multiple like continents or areas that you're going to either have to travel to through boat, or travel through on your like flying mount, or teleport to, or whatever. So like, for example, I think that there is going to be Koltaras, but I think separated from Koltaras there could be like the Troll Isles, and separated from that could be like the other human islands that were in Warcraft 3 but are not in World of Warcraft. I think that there's a lot that they can really do with this. They could put in Kazan, which is the Goblin area, and I think that they could really just add a lot of different stuff in that sea area, that middle part in between the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. So we'll see what all comes with that. You know, we'll see what happens after all of that. I don't know what they're going to do with the artifacts, or the artifact system and the artifact power, but we'll definitely see how it goes. And that's just my opinion as to like what we're going to be seeing next expansion. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up on it and show me some support. You can also leave a comment down below with your thoughts onto what you think is going to be in the next expansion, whether that be storyline, features, whatever it is that you feel is going to happen, based on your own research and your own thoughts. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be releasing a lot of content as the expansion's announced, and kind of giving you my overall opinions or information. Since I will be at Blizzcon, I'll be able to gather a lot of information about the expansion, and I will be putting a lot of time into that. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow for my reactions on what is announced for the expansion. So thanks, guys. Bye.